This is Brenda Weatherby, and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're cooking antelope, and I started making this recipe in 2016 when my family went on a road trip to Wyoming and we came back with 4 antelope. I had a lot of antelope to cook. This became a feature recipe for my employee luncheons, and I get to share it with you today. I do a lot of estimating in the kitchen, but if you want the exact ingredient list, please see the description below. So today I've got a bunch of ingredients prepped for you, but we are going to cut the meat. So let's do that real quick. We're going to do it in nice thin slices. This is a rare steak, so it's going to be very tender, but you can always use this with any cut. You would just simmer it a little longer after we put it all together. But if it's a steak that's going to be tender, then it'll be very quick to put together. Okie doke. So that's done. Okay, we got the meat cut up. We are going to head over to the stove and throw it all together. Okay, let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is take some thinly sliced onion and just get that in a pan with hot oil. That is going to just saute for a little bit. There we go. Okay. Maybe like a minute or so, usually is about good. Then we're going to add the garlic and the fresh ginger. And let that cook a bit, maybe another minute. While that's cooking, I want to talk a little bit about the vegetables. So I have a bowl here of like hard vegetables, I would call it. Things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots. Cauliflower is really good. So you're going to pick out, your family's favorite hard vegetables and maybe your family's favorite soft vegetables like zucchini or mushrooms. Those are going to be added to the pan at different times so that they can cook appropriately. Okay, this is about ready. So we'll add those hard vegetables and let those cook. Those are going to take a little bit. So, and you may add a little more liquid. So I have a little bit of broth here. You could just add a little bit of liquid. Of course, the time of cooking depends on how small you cut your vegetables. So I try to get them in small bite-sized pieces if I want this to go faster. And you also could add a lid to it, and then that would cook them a little bit quicker as well. Okay, so the hard vegetables have been cooking for about 5 minutes, so we're going to add the soft vegetables. In this case, I chose the mushrooms and zucchini. And the amount of vegetables, you really can be creative, and if you want more vegetables or more meat, just adjust accordingly. So those are going to go in there. And then we are going to add our curry paste. This is a red curry paste. If you don't have that, you can always just use curry powder, but you probably will need significantly more if you want it spicy. Cumin. I think that's the magic ingredient. A little bit of salt, pinch or two, and we'll adjust at the end after we taste it. And then this is about a can worth of coconut milk. Okay, so let's get that all stirred up. this is going to simmer while we cook our antelope. Get that curry paste really mixed in before you just let it sit. Okie doke. So now we're going to take our meat, and we have a hot pan here with a little bit of olive oil in it. This is just going to be a slight sear because of how tender this steak is. Always best to just let it be a little bit pink in the middle. At least that's the way I like it. And while that is cooking, I flip it once, and really, like, timing is everything. So I'm gonna let that cook for like maybe 20 seconds. And then I'm probably just gonna turn it off and let's let it sit in there while I go back to the other one. So I think this thickest, yeah, probably good. So we're just gonna turn it off. That hot pan is gonna keep cooking it, but hopefully not overcooking it. We'll come back to it and see. We can always pull it off if we need to. Okay, so we're gonna come back over here to the veggies. They are simmering. I'm gonna give it a little taste here, make sure we have a good flavor. Sweet. You could always add honey or like a little bit of maple syrup if you want it a little sweeter, but that coconut milk definitely is sweet. That's pretty good. I'm gonna add some chutney. You can be creative of whatever chutney you want and the amount. Add that to it. Okay. That's looking good. Okay, I think the antelope looks perfect at the moment. So we're gonna finish this off with a little bit of spinach that's chopped. We're just gonna let it wilt just a tiny bit. Stir it in. Okay. Now from here, it's starting to kind of boil. If your veggies need a little bit more cooking, just let them sit there, depending on how soft you want them or whatever. And then what we're gonna do is just toss this over here. Like so. If you had like a stew meat or something that was more not as tender, you could let it sit and simmer for as long as you really want. So it's very flexible. Also, I would do this when I was cooking for the employees because I didn't have my everything timed perfectly. So it would simmer for 20, 30 minutes and it was perfectly fine until you're ready to eat. Okay, this has been simmering and it's ready to go. So let's get it back to the counter. All right, so I did cook some brown rice here, so we are going to just top this right on top. If you like the saucy, then put the saucy on there. And then to finish it off, a little bit of cilantro. And my favorite is the peanuts. These are honey roasted, just because that's what was in there. But there we go. Voila, it's beautiful and even more delicious. There's a reason this is my family's favorite dish, and I think it will become your family's favorite too. So thank you for joining me. I'm Brenda Weatherby, and I'll see you next time on the next episode of Wild Flavors. you.